I just got back from SMX Advanced in Boston this week, and there were a lot of great speakers, a lot of great stuff for marketers. So these are my biggest takeaways. Let's get right into it. The opening speaker was Perna Verji. Hope I'm saying that last name right. And her focus was AI proving its ROI. That's kind of my takeaway from her speech. She said time saved is the ultimate vanity metric. And that's definitely something we give AI a lot of credit for, being really fast. But is it actually making things better? And is it actually impacting the bottom line? That's really what you should be focusing on, not just speed gains or something like that. So one of her great quotes was, "Comes before faster." It's fine to be fast, but make sure it's actually making things better. And how should it be making things better? She gave 3 areas. It should be improving the quality of output. It should be increasing your scope or your competitive advantage. And it should be increasing capability, but sustainably. So that was the kickoff of SMX, and it was a great kind of mindset speech. The next speaker I attended was Kelsey Liebert. Again, hope I'm okay on the last name there. So these bullet points jump around a little bit, but let's go through each one. Search is expanding across channels. We know this is happening. Marketing is going to have to get more expansive and go beyond just websites. So yes, SEOs, we're going to have to crack the code on socials. And this is in line with everything Rand Fishkin has been talking about for a while. AI search had trust early on, but has since lost a lot of it. People want disclosures if you're using it. On my LinkedIn, I've talked a lot about human sensitivity to AI and how many people are out there rejecting it when they do identify it. So if we're using it for our clients and the brands we work for, we have to be really careful. And that was one of the keys to Kelsey's speech. You have to govern it. So best thing you can do with AI is give it a lot of context so that the outputs aren't average or generic. And you want to supervise it every step of the way so that it's not getting off course, hallucinating, and then degrading trust in the brand. Really important. She had some stats here. Quality problem with AI, 53% of marketing work uses it, but only 26% say it's faster and better. And 48% say it's making the work more average. So this is right in line with what Perna was talking about. Adoption pressure is really high for analytics and SEO. So we have actually a lot of responsibility to use it appropriately. And here's a little bit more from Kelsey. One of her best quotes was, "Become a source, not a summary." So essentially, if you're thinking about Google's AI overviews, don't just let your content dissolve into the answer and not have your brand mentioned. You really want to be doing the long-term hard work to build a moat, build a brand, build yourself as an authoritative entity on the web. And that's tough, but she did give some tips on how to do that. So leaning into original data, proprietary studies, and of course, digital PR. We do a lot of this at the agency I work at, where everything we do is expert-led. We schedule regular Q&A sessions with our subject matter experts to keep things as unique as possible, make it hard for competitors to copy us, and make it more likely that we're going to be selected by AI. Because if you're kind of writing to the average, then what compels AI or any other system to select you? She talked a lot about repurposing to help with building yourself as an authoritative entity on the web. And that's, again, something our agency is big on. We love starting with video because video can become long and short form video, of course, but you also have the transcript to turn into long and short form text. And all of those formats can go to a lot of different platforms. So it really helps with your spread across the web. Her framework for success in AI search is to monitor platforms, choose the ones that are relevant to your audience. You want to build that entity authority, so get your subject matter expertise out there. You want to triangulate visibility, so you want a good spread of platforms where you're publishing to. And then you want to govern for trust when it comes to AI. Dave Davies was a more technical speaker, but there were some great takeaways here that we could apply to our work. When it comes to copywriting, his question was, can this block of text stand on its own and answer a specific question? I just had an example of this the other day with one of my copywriters who wrote a key takeaway that was really dependent on the context from the paragraph that preceded it. And you got to be careful with that because it was a great key takeaway, but it couldn't stand on its own. So it might have a little more trouble being selected for an AI answer. He also talked a lot about third-party mentions and how powerful those are in terms of AI visibility. And that was a through line with a lot of different speakers. It's not surprising, but there was a lot more talk of, mentions being just as powerful, if not more powerful in some cases, than links. And another thing he emphasized that I've heard in a lot of different places is freshness is important when it comes to AI, but if you're going to update your content, make sure the updates are significant. You can't just go in and change the last updated date and think that's significant enough. Andrew Beckman and Andrew Shotland held a local SEO kind of seminar. It was like an open forum to share your issues. It was really good, but I actually went up to Andrew Shotland afterward and talked to him about how local business owners often have content that could grow their business locked away in their mind, and how our job is to extract it, get it out there onto the web. I shared with him some ways that I do that. The monthly meeting that we have is 60 minutes. So we do the front half, 30 minutes of like reporting and talking strategy. And then the back 30 minutes is where we do an SME Q&A session. Another way we try to extract SME is to just send questionnaires if there's a new page we want to create or a page we want to update, or maybe there's a PR request for expertise and we might send a questionnaire to the client. So I was sharing some of that and I asked them, what other ways can we extract this gold from our busy local business owners? And he said, why don't you ask if they record sales calls? And I thought that was a great idea and wanted to share it with you today. Something to consider. Sales call transcripts, recording. You can mine those for subject matter expertise, customer pain points. There's a lot of gold in there. And you can also start to understand the language customers use, and that might alter your copywriting a little bit. Okay. Amanda Farley leaned more into the e-commerce side, but she did have a local tip I'm going to share with you. She had a system where she took in data on search behavior, product intent, audience intelligence, and she gained insights that she could then apply to product pages. What we're finding is with conversational queries, there's a lot more detail about what people are looking for within those, because they average about 24 words is what I heard in another presentation, whereas traditional SEO keywords average about 4 words. So there's a lot more data in these prompt-based queries, and we have to account for that on our pages. One example I've given is someone might prompt for men's Nike shoes size 11 that are good for both running and hiking and also narrow feet. So there's a lot of detail in there, and if our data is telling us that that's important to people, we want to be updating our pages accordingly and making sure that the AI system can make those connections, that our product is good for running and hiking, it's good for narrow or even wide feet. So the content of our pages have to feed the AI systems to ensure that we show up as an answer even when someone types in a really detailed query like that. Doesn't mean we have to make our pages a mess of fine details, but you do want to be doing this research so you can gain those insights and then intelligently and tastefully update your page content. Her one great local tip though, and this harkens back to what I was talking about with Andrew Shotland, is capture local video in the field using meta glasses and build that video bank for your clients. And then again, you've got video that you can use on multiple platforms. If there's any talking, it can become text. So this is a cool local tip, and meta glasses are not as expensive as I thought they were. So this is one I'm gonna try. Dawn Anderson gave quite a technical talk breaking down how AI systems, large language models, read text. And one of the big things was this paper called Lost in the Middle, where if you have an enormous amount of text or context, the large language model will tend to read what's at the top and the bottom of it. So the takeaway there is put your most important stuff at the top of the page so it doesn't get missed. And then she came in with this great point. A lot of this is just good journalism and common sense, isn't it? And that's definitely something for SEOs and marketers to take away. With AI coming into the fray, things are getting really technical. We're looking under the hood and trying to understand what's behind these systems. And I think that's great to do. But at the end of the day, it kind of boils down to principles of good copywriting, SEO fundamentals, that kind of thing. So definitely get into the detail, understand it, but don't get lost in it and lose the bigger picture. Monica Ho shared a presentation that was more based on a large data study of businesses with multiple locations. And here's some cool takeaways. Number one, with AI especially, she found that reviews are a gate. So you don't even get in unless you have 4.3 stars. She also found that 1 in 4 people use social as primary search. So that harkens back to what Kelsey was talking about, what Rand Fishkin has been talking about, that search is fragmenting and you want to be everywhere that your target audience is. I will say SparkToro is a great tool for that. You type in some information about your target audience and it will show you the social platforms they use, the AI platforms they use, and a ton of other great data so you can get your content out there and in front of them. And another finding she had was 1 in 3 people use generative in over half their searches. So a lot of people are using AI search. She emphasized auditing your data. And this is tough to do because I think we're going to have to be more thorough in this as SEOs. One example she gave was there was a local business that showed up in an AI search and people were seeing one of their offers, but that offer had long expired. So it actually was turning into kind of a nightmare for them because they had to basically manage all these inquiries that were about an offer that had long since passed, and kind of letting these people down might not have been helping the brand that much. So it's this kind of stuff we have to really monitor what we have out there because the AI systems are grabbing onto it, they're putting it in front of people, and they're confidently telling them it's current information. She said treat reviews, search, and social as one system, not like separate fragmented teams, and I think that's a great mindset to be in for AI search. Pretty much everything Beth Noonington said was great. So first of all, stop chasing GEO or LLM summaries. Build something worth finding. This is sort of what I was getting at with don't get lost in the detail or pulled into the hype of getting into an AI response. Think bigger than that. So lean into your experts. From Beth, your experts are your strongest asset. Totally agree, especially in the AI era. They always have been, but now especially. It's not about manipulating outputs. Do the long-term hard work. And I mentioned that earlier in this presentation. Don't shy away from that. Quick wins are fine for SEO, but they tend not to be lasting. You want to think bigger picture. You want to do things that are going to be sustainable despite how many Google algorithm updates are happening. You want to build a strong foundation and then build on top of that with good SEO fundamentals, strong PR. This SMX definitely focused a lot on third party. So the wider web pointing to you with something, a link, a mention, that is really how to build yourself as an entity. It's how to build authority. It's how to get into AI outputs. Nothing new, but good to reinforce the point. And I do think it's even more important when it comes to AI. And she also emphasized true brand building needs multiple teams working together. So true, and that's kind of that cohesion point that Monica was making. Just a quick mention of Grant Simmons. He is involved in .org. I encourage you to visit that site, see what this proposed protocol is all about, and they have a tool where you can experiment with it. So I won't go into too much detail. It's quite similar to Schema, but it is a different kind of thing. I think it's a supportive layer to getting your content out there, getting your subject matter expertise out there on many platforms, and getting a lot of third-party support confirmation and additional context. I think those two things are the primary drivers of AI and search systems understanding you as an entity and understanding what you're all about. And then the stuff at entitymap.org can reinforce that even further. So visit that site and try it out. Kyle Risley was from Shopify, and there was a lot of talk about AI agents coming and how they're going to do a lot more of the navigating that people used to do in the past. And you need to make sure that from a technical foundational standpoint, you are as sound as possible. Totally agree with that. But at the end of the day, he emphasized that you just need to nail the basics. Make sure you get the basics down. AI will work around our mess. And one of the ways he emphasized this was he invited us to raise our hand if we thought people were going to make perfect websites. Of course, they're not going to. Google does this. There are websites with multiple H1s on the page, and Google can figure out what the actual primary heading is through other clues. So Google learned to work around our mess. AI is going to as well, but only to a certain extent, and you do need to make sure that you get those basics right. So that's a little bit from each individual speaker. Here are the 4 larger takeaways. Number 1, AI accountability. AI needs to prove its value, and it doesn't do that by showing it can do things faster or generating larger outputs. Take that story all the way to the end to ROI. It has to earn its keep through expansion. That means quality, scope, capability, and ultimately ROI. Those are the percentages that should be increasing, not just speed. Trust was another big theme, and we have a real responsibility as marketers to use it in a way that's going to help us improve our work, but also keep the brand trust intact. So that means deep context and very careful supervision. Empathy was another big one. When it comes to audience research, I think SEOs and marketers are going to have to get a lot more thorough. This is a skill you definitely want to work on improving, because we need to be even more empathetic to our audiences to understand all the nuances of the things that they might be looking for and the types of searches they might do. If we don't mend those gaps, then we may not be chosen by AI search systems, and we're going to miss out on business and acquiring new customers. So going deeper on audience research, mapping every search behavior intent, and making sure our content reflects those things is going to be really important. And building our authority, doing the difficult long-term work to build that moat that's original. It's really difficult for competitors to copy, and it's stable against whatever comes in the future, whether it's algorithm updates, a new technology, what have you. Don't just be part of the summary, become a source. So there you have it, all my takeaways from SMX Advanced Boston this year. Hope that was useful to you. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions, drop me a comment. I love hearing from you. I'll see you in the next video.